Number 13, Boise State is unbeaten, but not untested. Jeremy McNichols and the Broncos are racing towards a title and a New Year's Six invite. It's Wyoming's best Mountain West start ever. You better be ready for running back Brian Hill. Number 13, Boise State, suddenly hot Wyoming in the Mountain West tonight. College football on CBS Sports Network is presented by Geico. An absolutely gorgeous night in Laramie, Wyoming tonight. Boise State and Wyoming, and here's what's at stake. Yes, Boise State is unbeaten. Yes, they're number 13, but with a win, Wyoming takes over the top spot in the Mountain Division. Hi, everybody. I'm Rich Waltz, along with Adam Archuleta. Welcome to Laramie. Boise State's got all the great tradition and success. Wyoming is on the rise right now, which should make for a very fun night here tonight.
Well, both these teams right now are playing with a lot of confidence, and they should. For the Broncos, this is par for the course. They've had success, and they know what it feels like. And for the Cowboys, this is a little bit of uncharted territory. So one of their biggest game in a long time. And I went on the field in pregame to kind of get a sense of both of these teams, and I felt both of them had the perfect amount of energy. They're not too hyped up, and they're both ready to play this game.
And they both have terrific running backs. Let's start with Wyoming's Brian Hill. What makes him so good?
Well, the first thing that stands out is his impressive size, speed combination. He is 6'1" and every bit of 220 pounds. Now, he is coming off a career game against the Nevada Wolfpack, 29 carries for 289 yards. And yes, this is a power offense. They love to run him inside, but he has the speed to hit the perimeter and hit home runs there as well.
Arch, you were a terrific defender. How would you defend Boise State's Jeremy McNichols?
It's going to be a difficult challenge, and his nickname fits him perfectly. They call him the Weapon, and you're going to see him do a lot of different things in this game. They love to split him out and find matchups with linebackers and safeties, but if it turns into a power run game, they are not afraid to run him 35 times a game.
As you would expect with this renaissance of football here in Laramie with this Wyoming team, this is the biggest game in these parts in a long time. And with more on that, let's go down to the field. Cassie McKinney. Cassie?
Yeah, Rich, Wyoming knows tonight could be historic. They have never beaten Boise State, and for the first time, they are 3-0 in the Mountain West. I asked Coach Bull before the game, how do you temper emotions going into a game like this? He brought up his time coaching at Nebraska when they went to 3 national championships. Said the biggest thing he learned was you have to dance with the one who brung you. He said, now that makes me sound like a real cowboy, but it's true. We have to stay grounded. And we got here with confidence and hard work. And guys, Coach said he came here to win championships, and tonight could be another step in that direction.
Boy, you're not kidding, and they are ready here in Laramie. It's been a long time since Wyoming took down a ranked team, 2002. And they have their shot at home tonight. This is McNichols, or excuse me, it's Jonathan Moxie. And across the 20, Moxie set down, and Boise State will get the football first here tonight. Chick-fil-A brings you the starting lineups. And with Boise State, you've got to start with Brett Rippon. Rippon, the sophomore. He was outstanding as a freshman, and Adam, he's taken a big step forward this year.
Yeah, he sure has, and he leads the #1 passing offense in the Mountain West and the most efficient offense in the Mountain West. The key for him is make sure that he doesn't have the big turnover and move the offense down the field.
2 pick sixes in the win last week against BYU. And this is McNichols, and he's got 6 yards out to the 26-yard line. Now, we told you about the weapons, McNichols and Rippon, but what about Thomas Spurbeck on the outside?
Well, he's one of the best receivers in the Mountain West, and he is the all-time leading receiver here for the Broncos. Not a big guy, only 6 foot, about 180 pounds. But in combat, in those contested catches, more than likely he's going to come down with the ball.
Second down and 3. Rippon fires it to the side. It's Spurbeck, and he's out of bounds with the first down. Marcus Epps on the coverage for Wyoming. So first down for Boise State. Now, Wyoming defensively has been vulnerable in the secondary. Robert Priester gets a start at one corner.
They gave up a lot of passing yards last week, but talking to Craig Bowl and his staff, the priority number one in this game is to stop the run. Now the secondary have to become extremely good tacklers in this game.
From the 37. Rippon with time, fires it on the seam, has Chaz Anderson who makes the catch and into Wyoming territory to the 43-yard line, and Boise State going up early.
Well, Brett Rippon has a lot of different weapons, and he loves to spread the ball around. This time it's Chaz Anderson.
This time, Alec Danens, the junior tight end. 11th catch for Danens. This is a multiple offense with a lot of weapons.
And you thought maybe coming into this game they were going to try and run the ball, but right out of the start, they're going to test the Wyoming secondary and see if, in fact, they can cover these wide receivers and tight ends.
Rippon just a sophomore. He is the nephew of Mark Rippon, a great quarterback for the Washington Redskins and Washington State. McNichols, second level, lost the football. Wyoming says they have it. And they do. Five turnovers last week against BYU, and the Broncos cough it up on their first possession.
Their 7th lost fumble of the season, and that's been the big thing here for Boise State. Rico Gafford, the JC transfer corner, comes in and puts his helmet right on the elbow of McNichols. And you talk about the improvement this year defensively for the Wyoming Cowboy defense. It has been about turnovers. They have been relentless in getting the football, and here again in this game, making it a big play.
What did Brian Harsin, the Boise State coach, tell us this week? All we have to overcome is ourselves. And a turnover on the first possession for the Broncos. Now Josh Allen and Brian Hill take over. This is a handoff to Austin Conway, the freshman. Conway, a former basketball player here at Wyoming. The turnover margin is one of the worst in FBS, and now it's at a -9 for Boise State.
And when you look at the Broncos, that is the one glaring part that they just haven't been able to get right this year. Their offense is outstanding. Their defense is very much improved and a force, but it is because they give the ball away. And on defense, they have not been taking it away. And I think, you know, talking to Brian Harsin, he understands that for them to get where they want to go, they have to fix that problem.
2 tight ends for Hill, a little bit of a seam, and that's all he needs. This is a strong runner. 6'1", 220 pounds. Chancellor James makes the stop for Boise State. First down for Wyoming. Cowboys. And their starting lineup brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Josh Allen, a redshirt sophomore, injured most of last year. He has been outstanding. You see the completion percentage, and especially on this field, 63% and 8 touchdowns. From their own 40, play action. Allen to the air, little dump off. He's got Hollister, the tight end, midfield, stays on his feet, has a first down. It's a 13-yard pickup, and Wyoming is in Boise State territory. Now the question up front for Wyoming, Brinkley Jolly gets the start at right tackle for Ryan Cummings.
The offensive line, their play this year is a big reason why they've been so good at running the football. This is going to be their very first game that the starting 5 is not intact. And Brinkley Jolly has a big test and a big game in front of him tonight.
Allen fires the out. Good coverage there by Jonathan Moxey. There was contact with Tanner Gentry.
Yeah, he arrived a little bit early, but you know, maybe you can make an argument that that ball may not have been catchable. A little bit to the outside. Close call.
Second down and 10. Boise State fumbling on their first possession in Wyoming territory. This the first touch for Wyoming. Play action. Allen sets, looking deep, firing end zone and overthrowing everybody. Tanner Gentry, the senior wide receiver, with Tyler Horton on the coverage. Defensively, the strength for Boise State is up front. Sam McCaskill and the rest of the group having a great year.
And they were a little unsure how this group was going to round up front, and now they have 3 linemen that are in the top 10 in sacks in the Mountain West, and not to mention 57 tackles for loss. So that Wyoming offensive line has a big test in front of them tonight.
3rd down 10 from the Boise State 46. Allen fires the out. Again contact. Again no flag. And again it's Jonathan Moxey, the senior corner out of West Palm Beach, on the scene.
Another one-on-one. Moxey is an off-cover. Perfect break on the football. And, you know, there was a little incidental contact right there. I thought that was good coverage on the outside for Boise State.
Ethan Wood will punt it. Cedric Wilson is deep, and he'll let it bounce. And Wyoming is going to pin Boise State inside the 10. Mark it at the 7. Underway in Laramie, Boise State and Wyoming. It is picture perfect here tonight on this late October night here in Laramie. Let's take a look at our Lowe's game improvements.
Well, Boise State has been dominant in every part of each game, but they haven't put together 4 solid quarters. And their defense has to create more turnovers. They have not done that this season. Offense, it's about the Brian Hill show. If they win this game, it's going to be because Brian Hill has another monster. And defensively, you must eliminate one of the best big play offenses in the Mountain West. They have to earn every yard that they get.
Lowe's never stopped improving. Boise State had plenty of yards on that first drive, but Jeremy McNichols fumbled. And for the Broncos, their 12th turnover of the season. From their own 7 now, Rippon with McNichols behind him. From his end zone, deep shot, middle, and incomplete. Chaz Anderson running the deep post.
The Broncos continuing to be aggressive. You know, being in this part of the field, a lot of times, you know, play action pass, trying to take a shot is not the most conservative of plays. And I thought that the receiver out there, Chaz Anderson, had a step and he had the middle of the field, but Rippon missed the throw.
Well, the head coach won't have a problem with that because Brian Harsin calls 1st and 2nd downs for this Boise State offense, and he dials up a throw over the middle, which caught at the 14 by Spurbeck. You see where they give him. Actually, they're going to mark that back at the 12, and so Boise State still has a sizable 3rd down here, backed up near their own territory. Rippon threw for 442 against BYU with 3 touchdowns, but 2 pick sixes last week. On 3rd and 5. Rippon has time, steps up, quick punt, it's Madison, hit, and he is short of the 1st down. To the 16, Logan Wilson and Lucas Waka made the stop for Wyoming.
This has to be a great tackling game from this Cowboy defense, and they did not tackle well last week. And we talked to Craig Bowl about it. He said the 2 players that have to play better is our inside linebacker Lucas Waka and our strong safety Andrew Wingard. And we have to be a good tackling team, because if you give the athletes of Boise State space, well, they can hit you with big plays all night.
That is Sean Whale, and he's standing at the 1-yard line. He is a boomer, 45 yards a kick, and at this altitude, he should have a good night. Conway lets it bounce, and it takes a Boise State bounce. It rolls inside the 35 all the way down to the 31-yard line. That's a 54-yard punt. Wyoming gets the ball when we return. The Cowboy defense tough so far. Those shots from 2009, Boise State had a perfect season. They dominated the WAC. And then Chris Peterson and company took down TCU in the Fiesta Bowl. Now the Mountain West, and a Mountain West power, Boise State, number 13 in the country, on the road against Wyoming. Allen fires it out. Jake Mulhart, a big wide receiver, 6'6", 230. And he carries it out to the 37-yard line. A gain of 7.
You know, it doesn't look like much, but I like the play call right there from Brent Vigen, the offensive coordinator, because I thought Josh Allen came out a little bit too anxious and was a little bit off the mark. They're trying to take advantage of one-on-one coverage against the cornerbacks, but the passes have not been accurate enough, and that's a good start to this drive.
On second down, Hill the carry, and he runs right into the middle of that defensive line. You talked about David Moa, Sam McCaskill, and how good that front is, and you add Vallejo, Martirano, and Weaver. It's a great front seven.
The front seven, they attack, and you know, last week they were supposed to go against one of the other top rushers in college football, and Jamal Williams for BYU, but he was hurt. And so this is probably, you can say, their biggest test on the ground tonight. You know, can they stick with and can they stop Brian Hill for 4 quarters?
Gain of just 1. It's 3rd down and 3. Allen will keep it, and Allen's got the first down. And he's hit and dropped by Cameron Hartsfield. 6 yards on the gain. Josh Allen can hurt you with his feet.
Well, he reads this perfectly, and he's going to ride Brian Hill inside, and he's going to wait for the defense to declare. And as soon as they jump in to tackle Hill, he's going to get behind him, and then Hill becomes that lead blocker.
Brian Hill, 2nd in the nation, averaging 144 yards a game.
Timeout. Wyoming, they're first.
And Wyoming is going to burn the first timeout of the night.
30-second.
And a 30-second timeout. Now the Cowboys are 5-2 and 3-0. And Craig Bohl and his ball club, not a lot was expected out of them in the preseason polls. I mean, last year they were 2-10, just 2-6 in the Mountain West. But man, they've got momentum. They beat Colorado State, their rival, on the road by 3 touchdowns, took down Air Force, and a road win last week at Nevada.
Craig Bohl has a formula to winning, and it's called toughness. That's the #1 requirement that you have to be a Wyoming Cowboy. And there was a lot of question marks. How would this team respond? You know, last year they played a lot of young guys, a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores with a lot of injuries, and they just were not ready to play. But things have come together. They've been healthy this year, and they've really bought in to what Coach Bohl is selling.
The biggest loss last year was Josh Allen, who broke his clavicle in the 2nd game and missed almost the entire season. Allen, again with time, and a quick pop to his tight end. And that's Josh Harshman, the sophomore out of Casper, Wyoming.
I had a chance to talk to Craig Bohl on the field before the game, and just talking about the early success that he's seen from his team, and he said that guy's the reason why we've improved so much, and he pointed at number 17. Now, they don't ask him to do a lot, but he does have the talent to take advantage of a defense that is geared to stop Brian Hill.
Hill in the backfield, and a guy who was an outstanding linebacker in high school in Illinois. And as it happened, Craig Bohl had recruited his cousin to play at North Dakota State. So when he walked into the Hill household, they knew an awful lot about him. Allen on an option is going to get the first down, and he's inside the 45, down to the 42. A methodical yet very effective drive right now by Wyoming.
Well, it gets a great block from their tight end, the senior Jacob Hollister, number 88. He's the one that seals it, and that opens up the lane for Allen to get around the corner. Number 88 gets the block on Ben Weaver, the linebacker, and then you see that athletic ability and the speed for Allen on the ground.
He's picked up 2 key 3rd downs on this drive. 1st and 10, play action, tip ball, picked, intercepted. Chancellor James went to a knee to make the catch. Someone got a hand on the throw from Allen, and a rare interception, just the 3rd all season for Boise State.
At first I thought it was the linebacker Joe Martirano, but it was the nose tackle. Number 55, David Moa, in the middle of your screen, gets the left hand up there, The ball flies up, and then on the spot, beautiful interception by Chancellor James.
Both teams with a turnover, neither team with a point. They love their Cowboys at 7,200 feet here in Laramie. Speaking of, PBR Built Ford Tough Series World Finals start Wednesday, 10 Eastern. J.B. Mooney looks to defend his title. Join us for a special pre-event coverage inside the PBR World Finals presented by B&W Trailer Hitches right here on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. 7,200 feet, Cassie McKinney. Way up there. Let's go down to the field.
Rich, Jeremy McNichols appearing very frustrated after the first two drives, has come off the field and walked to the very end of the bench, stood by himself, has barely spoken a word to anyone since the start of the game. Also, Coach Harsin has been talking to his team about ball security and communicating more, guys.
You're right, Cassie. All week, ball security was on the mind of the Broncos in practice. So much so that even a bobble Adam Archuleta sent that player into the gauntlet at the end of practice.
Well, they have to do something, because turnovers is going to be the thing that gets this team beat. This is a talented football team, but if they continue to turn the ball over the way they have and not take it away on defense, it will catch up with them at some point.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4 from their own 35. McNichols reaches right to the 40. He's got the first down. That's a gain of 5.
The thing that's so hard about this offense is because of the weapons that they have. You know, Thomas Spurbeck, wide receiver, Cedric Wilson, Chaz Anderson, and then Jeremy McNichols when they spread them out in the passing game. And so you think maybe because of their success passing the football, they're a finesse offense. But again, they'll run the ball. Jeremy McNichols with 70 rushing attempts in the last 2 games. They are not afraid to pound it inside.
And a monster game against BYU. 140 on the ground, 109 in receiving for McNichols. 1st and 10. Rippon airs it out for Wilson, and it's incomplete. We were talking about Robert Priester and how Boise State might test him.
Well, Priester gets the start for Antonio Hull, but Priester has 17 starts under his belt. His issue has been tackling. This time, he is in perfect position inside on Cedric Wilson, and nowhere for the ball to land.
2nd down, 10. Scoreless so far. Both teams have a turnover. McNichols gets a block, busts it loose. McNichols to the 30, and has scored it out of bounds by Andrew Winger. That's a 20-yard gain.
Oh, and what a block that he got. Mason Hampton, the center, is going to cut out in front of this thing, pulling around, and watch how he leads up inside and clears the way at the next level for McNichols to get into the secondary. It's an athletic offensive line here for the Boise State Broncos.
Rippon on 1st and 10. Crossing pattern caught there. That's Sean Modster, who had a nice game against BYU, had 4 catches. And Modster is down to the 31-yard line. That's a gain of 9. Second time Boise State has been this deep in Wyoming territory. It was a McNichols fumble that ended that first drive. This time it's Alexander Madison. He's going to lose a yard. And so 3rd down. And this is going to be a long 3.
A safety blitz. Andrew Winger coming off the weak side. And he was the free hitter, but that was an excellent play by the nose tackle, Malaulu, to defeat the block of Mason Hampton and make the play on McNichols.
Boise State uses a lot of tight ends, and 4 of them are in right now. Quick snap. Rippon's going to throw. Fires it. Caught at the 5. Down goes Chase Blakely. His first catch of the season. 28 yards and 1st and goal for the Broncos.
Well, tight ends have been seldom used in the passing game, but here for the 2nd game in a row, come through in a big way. This is a running formation where they're thinking heavy run tendency. But Blakely coming from the left side, crossing the field, and a perfect pass from his quarterback, Brett Rippon.
From the Wyoming 5. First and goal. McNichols bounces outside, breaks the tackle, race for the pylon, and he's in. Touchdown, Boise State. And the Broncos are on the board first. 17th touchdown that leads the nation for Jeremy McNichols.
He's hard to tackle. He's such a wonderful athlete, whether it's catching the ball or hitting the edge. And when you have a chance to make a one-on-one tackle, you have to hit the outside leg and force him to go back inside if you miss. That time, Marcus Epps, the excellent tackling strong safety, misses it, and McNichols gets the sideline.
Tyler Rassa with the extra point. And remember, it all started. David Moa got a hand on the Josh Allen throw. Chancellor James had the pick. That started a 71-yard, 8-play drive, which was finished by Jeremy McNichols. 7-0, Boise State.
The Buffalo-Miami game last week, and Jay Ajayi just went savage on that Buffalo Bill defense. The second week in a row, only the fourth time in NFL history somebody's gone back-to-back 200-yard games.
Nice deep kick. Tyler Rassa sends it through the end zone. And Wyoming gets the football. And I would bet that Jay Ajayi has kept an eye on Jeremy McNichols as much as Ajayi meant to the Boise State program. Nichols is having just an amazing year. And he may own a lot of records before he's done in Boise.
Yeah, his skill set is what makes him so valuable, because he can affect defenses in a variety of different ways, and I'm sure he's going to be a commodity when it's time to go to the NFL.
Now Wyoming, who had a nice drive going before the interception, will give to Hill. And Brian Hill is out to the 28-yard line. It's a gain of 3.
You know, getting ready for this game, I really enjoyed watching both Sam McCaskill, number 94, and David Moa, number 55, the nose tackle and the defensive tackle. And these are two guys that were backups last year, but have come through in a big way, and a big reason why this defense has been so good this year.
Allen with a blitz coming, flushed, pumps to the 35, and he's got the first down. And one of the best weapons the Cowboys have had tonight is Josh Allen on the ground.
It's one of the things now, he's 6'5", 222 pounds. But you see how he has athletic ability. He runs a 4.6 in the 40-yard dash. And last week in Nevada, he had 14 rushing attempts and added 52 yards on the ground. He threw the ball 12 times last week. So certainly somebody that you have to watch for when he goes to improvise.
Hill, midfield, Hill, a nice move, still on his feet, inside the 40 to the 37. 27 yards for Brian Hill.
Boy, such a good run inside, and the vision to read his blocks from the center, Chase Roulier, and the freshman Gavin Rush. You saw Brinkley Jolly, the fill-in right tackle, get up to the second level on the linebacker as Brian Hill explodes into the secondary.
43 yards now, 5 carries. Into Boise State territory. Allen setting up a screen. Has his man caught there. That's Hollister inside the 15. And Jacob Hollister is inside the 10. Wyoming's got first and goal on a 29-yard pass from Josh Allen.
Once again, back-to-back plays. The center, Chase Roulier, the all-everything offensive lineman, is the one that gets out in front of this thing. Number 55 blocking and then leading the way, getting up on the safety out there. Or excuse me, the linebacker, Jabril Frazier. And the screen game for the second time today to the tight ends working for Josh Allen in the Cowboy offense.
Great block by Jake Mulhart as well downfield. Sean Wick into the ball game, and his first touch. No gain. 2nd and goal. Into the red zone is Wyoming. Red zone tonight brought to you by Verizon. The national average, 62% in terms of touchdown percentage. Wyoming ahead of that curve at 75%.
Yeah, 21 touchdowns this season. 15 of those being runs. I'm sure you're not surprised about that, Rich.
Not with Brian Hill or the 3rd down exploits of Josh Allen. This is 2nd and goal. Hill cuts. Hill lunges, and he's inside the 2. David Moa from behind, 6 yards on the carry. And this is 3rd down and goal.
This is what I love about this run. Brian Hill tries to stretch out the defense as if he's going to try and hit the edge. But at the very last moment, cuts back inside, breaks a tackle, and gets positive yards.
Final seconds melt away. First quarter. Big showdown here in the Mountain West tonight.
That's the end of the first quarter.
Boise State unbeaten and number 13. Wyoming on the rise at 5-2. 7-0 Boise. Wyoming on the doorstep, headed to the 2nd quarter. Late October in Laramie in the Mountain West. Start of the 2nd quarter. Wyoming trying to knock off number 13. Little Halloween action. 3rd down and goal from the 2. Adam Archuleta, what's on your play card?
Well, no question, you always have to account for Brian Hill running the football, but because this ball is on the left hash and Allen has the entire right side of the field, movement pass to his right is always in play.
We saw Boise State changing off the timeout once they recognized the position set for Wyoming. So 3rd and goal from the 2. And Allen is rolling right, flush back left, finds his way back to the line of scrimmage. Ben Weaver, the senior linebacker, made the stop, the leading tackler for the Broncos. Now what?
Well, Sam McCaskill read his scouting report, sprint out right, and he jumped to the outside to cut off Allen, and there was no time for the play to develop. That was a great job of playing the play and forcing Allen into a quick decision.
A pair of blockers in front of Hill. It's Hill who's hit and stopped, and Boise State has held. Boy, there was a lot of bodies in the middle to begin with, and there was no room at all for Brian Hill.
David Moa inside the Moa Constrictor number 55 is the reason why this play was stacked up. He got right under the center, number 55, and he's the reason why there was absolutely nowhere to go. And Boise State all over it. But that was made because the play before, Sam McCaskill not allowing the play to develop, and the Bronco defense with a huge play.
Well, Wyoming has moved the football, 128 total yards, but they have no points. And now Rippon and the Broncos will just try to push it away from the goal line and get it out across the 2, close to the 3.
It's still a dangerous place. Now, one thing you have to remember when you're down tight like this, you know, passing the ball out of your end zone, Wyoming doesn't really have a great pass rush. Carl Granderson was their best rusher with 4 sacks on the season. He's out with an ACL. But the rest of that defense has not shown the ability to consistently get to the quarterback. But they're going to have to try and find a way to do this right here with Rippon aligning in his own end zone.
McNichols in the backfields. And it's McNichols staying on his feet amazingly across the 20 to the 30 McNichols out near midfield. What an effort. Jeremy McNichols, the junior out of Long Beach, California, a 40-yard run.
Well, Andrew Wingard is the leading tackler in the Mountain West, playing free safety. He gets a chance to make contact in the hole for a no gain. He puts his shoulder in there. He doesn't wrap up. Look at the effort by McNichols. He puts the left hand down, keeps his balance, and with a big play to get Boise State out of trouble.
93 yards on the ground already for Jeremy McNichols. Rippon fires it, far sideline. Spurbeck the catch, avoids one, cross midfield, and Thomas Spurbeck on a 13-yard pickup. Marcus Epps made the stop for Wyoming. And now Boise State's offense is humming.
Boy, that was a big play. And Wyoming had a chance there to take advantage of great momentum. You know, one of the things they pride themselves here at Boise State, you know, talking to Brian Harsin, is how tough they are. And when they get in tough moments, their team loves to thrive and rise to the occasion. And that's one of the things that he said was the strength of his football team, overcoming adversity. And that was a great example, first by the defense and then the offense.
Rippon to throw, time, deep ball, middle, caught, Wilson, down to the 2. Cedric Wilson, Robert Priester on the coverage, and a gorgeous strike from Brett Rippon.
Well, trying to take advantage of the middle of the field, and you're going to see the safety, Andrew Wingard again. He comes inside, both safeties vacate, and there's nobody in the middle of the field to give help to Robert Priester. I mean, you cannot expect a cornerback to play outside leverage with no help in between the hash marks and expect him to make that play.
Now the Broncos right back on the doorstep. From the 2, McNichols, touchdown. And the Broncos make Wyoming pay a 2-touchdown lead for the number 13 team in the country.
We talked about, you know, some of the keys to this game, and for Wyoming defensively, you have to make Boise State earn it. This is an explosive team, one of the more explosive teams in the Mountain West. And you had a chance to pin them deep, but a missed tackle allows them to get out of trouble, and then Rippon follows it up with a big play to Cedric Wilson. That was a beautiful drive by the Bronco offense. 5 plays, 94 yards.
Wow. Extra point good. And the key play, Jeremy McNichols. I think a lot of folks here in Laramie thought he was down, but not McNichols. The hand to the turf 3 times. And he races out to midfield and then takes it in. 14-0 Broncos. These are the driving forces on one of the most dynamic offenses in the West. Brett Rippon and Jeremy McNichols. And McNichols with a pair of touchdowns. He has been electric. And of course, his night started with that fumble, but he's recovered nicely from it.
Yeah, remember, you know, Cassie McKinney on the sideline saying how upset and distraught he was after that fumble. Well, that's how you rebound. And you come back out and you make big plays, and that's how you atone for a big mistake.
Another big kickoff from Tyler Rossa. Now the focus is on Wyoming. And look, Wyoming's offense has moved the football here, Adam. Obviously the deflection and interception, and then the failure to convert on 4th and goal from the 1.
Yeah, I think you have to stick to your plan, and you can't get outside yourself. And I think the one thing that Craig Bohl is telling his football team right now is, hey, look, we can move the ball on this team. We can make plays on this defense. Now we have to do our end, take care of the football, and when you have a chance to be in scoring position, you have to take advantage of that and turn it into points. That's the thing they have not been doing, is taking advantage of their good fortune.
Allen wings it out, and Gentry with his first catch of the night. Tanner Gentry is a really nice weapon, the senior out of Aurora, Colorado. 13-yard pickup.
He was having a terrific year last year. You're going to see Tanner Gentry in the slot, and he's going to run an out route on the safety, Dylan Summer-Gardner, but Tanner Gentry injured his shoulders last year, and they really didn't have a big passing threat when he went down. But because he's been able to be healthy, and with the emergence of Josh Allen, they do have a threat in the passing game this season.
On the ground, this is Sean Wick. The senior is the understudy, so to speak, to Brian Hill, and he's a guy that can hurt you as well.
Well, this is the one thing that Craig Bold said about his running back, the senior Sean Wick, is that he's handled his role well this year. And what they noticed is, and what they didn't have last year, when Brian Hill came out of the game, they had a significant drop-off. Well, this season, they don't have a drop-off. Now, Wick is not as good as Brian Hill, but he has the potential to hit 10-yard runs, and that's exactly what you just saw.
Aren't many running backs in the country that are better than Hill. This is Hill. And after that 11-yard carry by Wick, Hill rips off a 9-yard run. And this is how Wyoming has moved the football. And their offense has actually been efficient in picking up yardage and first downs.
They're running the ball in this game. They're choosing to run the ball behind their 3 interior linemen, Gavin Rush, Chase Roulier, and Caden Jackson. And I think because of the injury to Ryan Cummings, they feel like the inside 3 is their best bet, and Brian Hill is seeing the hole well.
Hill again bounces outside, inside the 30, still on his feet. Hill is inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. And that is Brian Hill in a nutshell. Tough yards. Big yards, 23-yard gain.
Boy, he is seeing the hole. This is supposed to hit front side to his left. They pull the backside guard, but because of his great vision, he sees the inside linebacker overcommit to the right side and hits the cutback lane. And then once he gets into the open field, it's tough for any member of the secondary to get him down in one-on-one tackling.
Hill lost his helmet. He's out for a play. Sean Wick is back in. And on 1st and 10, it's Wick. And he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. Ben Weaver made the stop for Boise State. 9.5 minutes left. First half, Boise State up 14-0. But the game is not as lopsided as the score would indicate. Wyoming has moved the football. 184 total yards here in the first half, but with nothing to show for it.
Well, Boise State's defense is terrific in the red zone, and a big reason why they were able to overcome 5 turnovers last week against BYU.
Allen, outside, Hollister, touchdown. An answer from Wyoming. Yards on 6 plays. Josh Allen, his 11th touchdown pass of the season. Jacob Hollister and Wyoming on the board. 14-7 Boise State. Josh Allen on the right. Jacob McAllister with the catch on the left.
I think Boise State had to be a little bit misaligned. Look at the entire secondary. This is the safety, Cameron Hartsfield. He's playing at linebacker depth. And then Hollister is just going to run a seam route with no deep safety. Cameron Hartsfield is playing underneath. And Josh Allen is easily able to identify his senior tight end, Jacob Hollister. That had to be a bust in coverage, because I've never seen a defense like that.
And that defensive stand by Boise State is the difference between a tie game right now and this 14-7 score. Both offenses have found their groove, and that groove in the last possession was all about Jeremy McNichols.
Well, not a good start for McNichols early on their first drive of the game. Boise State driving, But a big hit by Rico Gafford forces the fumble, but then it responds, showing great tackle breaking ability. That time, the tackle of Marcus Epps, and then getting out of a hole, beating the tackle of the safety again, Andrew Wingard, keeping his balance and getting up to midfield, and then caps it off with a 3-yard touchdown. So Jeremy McNichols having a big drive right there and doing to the Cowboy defense what he's done all season.
Broncos get it. Their own 25. Ripping on play action. Rolling, firing short. I see it, boy. Brett Rippon, though, has been good so far tonight. 9 of 12, 135 yards, and he's found 7 different receivers.
Well, that's what he does well. He spreads it around. You know, it's always, Thomas Spurbeck is always going to have an impact in this offense. But then Cedric Wilson is there, and Ches Anderson. Last week it was Sean Modster who had a big part in this game. So you never know who it's going to be. One thing you have to do if you're Wyoming, you must protect in between the hash marks. That's where they're attacking, and that's where they had success last week as well.
McNichols split out as a wide receiver. Open is Wilson. Catch at the 35, has the first down. Cedric Wilson. Look, I know a lot of people talk about Thomas Spurbeck, but Cedric Wilson, the junior, has emerged as a real weapon.
Well, he's the guy that he looks the part. He's 6'3", 183 pounds, 4 catches, 68 yards a week ago. But when you draw it up, how you want your wide receiver to look athletically, that's what Cedric Wilson brings to the offense.
1st and 10, just shy of the 40. Play action, Rippon time, left sideline. Jake Knight had that big catch in the 4th quarter that set up a game-winning touchdown against BYU. Good coverage along the sideline.
Boy, what a job right here. DJ May, he's a linebacker, and they're going to try and run a route to isolate him one-on-one. But the former running back in perfect position down the field. Well done by number 7, DJ May, the senior linebacker.
2nd and 10, Rippon, quick throw, caught there. Spurbeck at midfield, and he dances out of bounds. The career leader in receiving yardage at Boise State has a 19-yard pickup.
Well, Andrew Wingard is the primary covered defender on this play. And I'm not sure what he was doing, but he goes underneath. He tries to jump underneath. In no way in position to get an interception, and that allows Spurbeck to catch the ball in open space and turn upfield.
Rippon 11 of 15. You can see 168 yards. McNichols inside the 40. Gain of 3. Kevin Prosser, the sophomore defensive end, the stop for Wyoming.
Rich, Cowboys in their secondary, both Andrew Wingard and Marcus Epps, have to start making more plays in this game. They put a lot of pressure on their safeties, both in the run and pass game. So far today, missed tackles and missed assignments have hurt this defense.
McNichols has a hole, has a first down. Antonio Hull makes the stop, another 9 yards. Over 100 now is McNichols. He's at 107.
What a block here by the right tackle. Picking up the blitzing linebacker, Logan Wilson, and Mario Yaku makes the big block to let McNichols get into the secondary.
And McNichols is not a back that rotates in and out. This is a guy that carries the load the entire game. Tries the right side, now cuts back, open territory. Rippon throws a block, and McNichols is out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Another big gain, 13 yards and a first down.
Oh, what vision, and what a play by McNichols. This is completely stopped to his right. There are Cowboys swarming him. And watch, he reverses field. Bad discipline, keeping contained on the backside. And then you see McNichols, his speed, is able to make something out of nothing. He's having a terrific game. Right now, Cowboys on defense look tired.
Alexander Madison in for McNichols. And this is Madison, and he's into the secondary. Madison into the end zone. Touchdown, Broncos. The freshman. And Boise State on the board again.
Well, that time Stephen Baggett, the right guard, with the key block, and you can see Cowboys tired on that drive. Easily their worst effort of the game, being stuck on blocks up front and then poor tackling in the secondary. That was an impressive drive by the Boise State Broncos.
75 yards, 8 plays. Boise State is just chewing up yardage. 305 total yards so far for this Bronco offense. And number 13 on the road in the Mountain West is up a couple scores, 21-7. Time now to go RVing, which is popular here in this state. How about the new High Altitude Performance Center, Mick and Susie McMurray High Altitude Performance Center? They broke ground on it today. $44 million, 118,000 square feet. Construction begins at the end. There's the governor, Matt Mead, of the great state of Wyoming. Locker rooms, meeting rooms. And it will go right there in the end zone, the north end zone here in Laramie. Cowboys do not lack for facilities. Nice indoor practice facility and a new football complex coming. That one through the end zone. Well, you know, Adam, we talked Boise State, and let's face it, they are a group of 5 team, and their goal is to get to a New Year's 6 game. And when the Broncos get to a New Year's 6 game, they win them.
Yeah, they always represent well. And really, you know, we spoke about it numerous times tonight. They just have to find ways to put together 4 quarters. You know, they've been dominant in every game that they've been in this year, but they seem to have a lapse sometimes that allow teams to get back into it.
Brian Hill, as Wyoming tries to get back into it.
But this is a big drive here for Wyoming because, you know, their defense is tired. And, you know, you think maybe the energy pendulum has shifted to Boise State's side the way they just drove down the field right there on that touchdown. And here, you know, 6 minutes to go before halftime, they have to find a way to answer. And at the minimum, choose some time off the clock and get some productivity.
Second down, 9. Wyoming, their own 26. Allen's been accurate for the most part. Tanner Gentry, the catch. The one interception was a deflected ball. And a 7-yard pickup will bring up 3rd down and a long 2, maybe a short 3. Craig Bolt's 3rd year after 3 national titles at North Dakota State. Allen with throw, time, sideline, caught there. It's Hollister again. Jacob Hollister, who had the touchdown catch, 27 yards, and the Cowboys have a 1st down at the Boise State 40.
Boy, what a throw and what an adjustment back to the ball for Jacob Hollister, lined up as an inline tight end. And against the safety, Dylan Summer-Gardner gets that last bit of separation and then athletically goes up, gets the ball, and comes in bounds. Huge play. Tight ends have been a big part of the offense tonight.
Hill with a gain of 7. Let's go to Brent Stover in our New York studio now for an Advocare update. Brent.
Rich, unbeaten Nebraska in Madison. Divine Ozigbo, short touchdown run. And the Badgers and Huskers tied at 7, early 2nd, guys.
Well, the Nebraska Cornhuskers at 7-0. You got to know that brings a smile to Craig Bowles' face, the Wyoming head coach. He was a walk-on defensive back at Nebraska back in the 70s. This is Hill, and he's inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. He was then an assistant, Bull was, at Nebraska. And while he was there, Bob Devaney told him, Devaney, of course, the successful Nebraska coach, coached here at Wyoming. They used to talk about Wyoming. And Bull always asked him, why did you have success in such a faraway place? He used that formula in Fargo at North Dakota State, and he's using it here in Laramie. At the 28th of Boise State. 3 receivers stacked. Statue of Liberty. Wait a minute. This is not Boise State on offense. This is Wyoming. It doesn't go for much yardage. In fact, Brian Hill gets back to the line of scrimmage.
I like the thought of it, but a great reaction. They didn't plan on the reaction abilities of Joe Martirano, the inside linebacker, who wasn't fooled for a second. I think maybe he's seen that play in practice a few times.
I was about to say, I think this defense has seen the offense run that a few times on the blue turf. Austin Conway to the 25. He's gotten 3. And this is going to bring up another 3rd down for Wyoming. A little bit longer here, 3rd down and 7.
So I understand, because you're going up against a defense that is really good in the red zone. And so maybe you're trying to get them off balance by using some trick plays. But those last 2 plays, they got away from their formula of moving the ball down the field. You know, using Brian Hill in the power running game, and then the accurate drop back passing from Allen. I don't know if that was the right sequence at that time. And now they're in the 3rd and long.
Hill not in the game. They'll hand it off to Sean Wick. And he'll try the left side. He's going to gain ground. But he's well shy of the 1st down, and it looks like Wyoming's bringing the field goal unit on.
You know, that's the risk that you have when you dial up trick plays. And when they don't work, then they put your offense behind schedule. And I just thought the way the momentum and the way they were driving the ball and the way Hill was running the ball, especially behind his center, Chase Roulier, I really thought they hurt that drive with that selection of plays.
This is a 40-yarder from a freshman kicker who hasn't kicked much lately, and he drills it. Cooper Roth from 40. And so the Cowboys have points to show, but are down by 11. Number 13, Boise State, 21-10. Halftime getting closer, and that's the Verizon halftime report coming up. Brent Stover, Christian Fourier, former Boise State head coach Houston Nutt. That's coming up around the country with highlights and scores, first half analysis, AP top 10. A real scare for Louisville at Virginia, but they escaped with a 7-point win. Ohio State a scare against Northwestern. And you see that Nebraska game that we just updated, 7-7. West Virginia losing for the first time. Baylor losing for the first time.
You see that one? You see the Baylor loss to Texas? Did you call that before the game?
No. Oh. But I'll tell you what, there's a lot of folks wearing blue and orange right now that are paying attention to those losses at the back end of the top 10, because Boise State at number 13 with a win here certainly could move up. And of course, the college football playoff rankings, the first ones come out this coming week.
Yeah, but all Boise State is worried about right now is can we score a touchdown with a minute and 48 seconds left with 3 timeouts and go 75 yards.
Well, you see what they've done in the first half, in the last 2 minutes this season. 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals. This is game number 8. Rippon scans the field. Contact, interception, no flags. Rico Gafford with the pick. Midfield Gafford to the 40. Gafford inside the 35. Boy, a crucial play with a minute and a half left. Rippon is upset. 33 yards on the return. Brian Harsin is upset.
Well, 2 things. I thought Rippon waited too long because his receiver gets open rather quickly. And because he held the ball, that allowed Gafford to gain position. Now the question is this incidental contact? And it's kind of hard to see from that angle. If it's incidental contact, Gafford has every right to go for the football. He just makes body contact, and I think that's a good no call.
Now, momentum if Wyoming can cash in. And it's Hill, and he's outside. Brian Hill stays in bounds at the 29. The clock will continue to run. Wyoming has 2 timeouts left, 1:20 left. Wyoming last 2 minutes of the first half, 4 touchdowns. Now, great opportunity for Craig Bull and Wyoming to jump right back in this thing. 2nd and 3. Allen. Down! Hollister, touchdown! What a turn of events. 2nd touchdown for Jacob Hollister.
What a good play design and a play call from Brent Vegan, the offensive coordinator, aligning Hollister as a fullback in the backfield and then sending him out to the boundary, and he's wide open for the touchdown.
Extra point is good, and just like that, Josh Allen and Wyoming are within 4, 52 seconds left, first half. And Hollister has been a featured weapon for Wyoming tonight.
Well, a line, 3 backs or tight ends in the backfield, and he's just going to come out here and run a wheel route, and the linebackers all playing up front for the run. They lose their eye discipline and then allow Hollister to be wide open on the sideline in a perfect pass by Josh Allen for the touchdown. You know, Hollister came into this game with just 10 catches, 2 touchdowns, but today he has been a huge part of the offense and a great response right before halftime.
5 catches for Hollister, and there's Brent Vegan, the offensive coordinator.
Boy, Brent Vegan turning into a carnivore, showing some teeth with a great play call and execution.
But look, it all started with the Gafford interception, and Spurbeck going down at the end of that pattern. And once again, turnovers for Boise State. Their 2nd turnover this half. Moxie at the 18, flags down, upfield at the 28-yard line. Kevin Marr is our referee tonight. So it's a hold, and this is going to back Boise State up. That's the first flag of the ball game.
That's what I like to see. There's, whether it's college or in the NFL, too many flags. But these are 2 disciplined teams. Both coaches preach discipline.
I think Brian Harsin feels there should be 1 more flag this half. Boise State now, ripping fires. Oh, it's almost picked off. My goodness. Wow. Logan Wilson in the pattern.
Well, that could have been a big play. Logan Wilson, who played that play beautifully, and he had a pick 6 last week, but almost came down with a huge play.
The incompletion stopped the clock. Wyoming has 2 timeouts. Rippon to the sideline, caught there, Anderson, and he's out of bounds, and that's good enough for a first down for Boise State. 12 yards. Is there enough time for Rippon to take shots here?
There is time. They have 3 timeouts. Certainly plenty of time. But they have to be careful with the football here, and they can't throw the ball to the Cowboys.
Catch there, Modster. Clock stops while they set the chains. 18 yards on the pickup.
Now, it'll be interesting because of the problems Boise State has had with their field goal unit this year.
Rippon, a lot of time, and Wilson makes the catch. And he's blistered right at midfield. 11 yards. Clock stops again with the first down. That's Tyler Rossa. His longest this year is 31 yards. But he does have a 51-yarder, and that was last season. He has been slumping this year. Was a first-team All-Mountain West pick last year.
You know, 2-minute situation in end of half scenario is different than, you know, in the middle of a quarter. But talking to Brian Harsin this week, he said that maybe he's going to have to shorten up the target line because of the problems they've had on their field goal unit. And he thought the 20-yard line, surprisingly, was their target line to attempt a field goal. But you mentioned he does have a leg, and he's done it before.
And he's at 7,200 feet. And here's proof of that, Arch. This is last year against Virginia, and that's 51 yards. And so the question is Rossa the kicker from last year who was 25 of 30, or is he the guy from this year that has slumped and gone just 3 of 6? Two timeouts left, 25 seconds left, midfield for Boise State. Rippon, short throw, Spurbeck has the catch. Clock stops, 13-yard gain. Robert Priester on the coverage. Clock will start on ready for play. Boise State has 2 timeouts. Set. Sideline shot. Caught, but out of the end zone. Anderson the catch. It'll be 2nd and 10, and that wiped out a good chunk of time. There's just 9 seconds left in the half.
Boy, Rico Gafford has had a heck of a game. And we mentioned Robert Priester got the start on the other side for Antonio Hull, and they moved Gafford to the boundary corner. Now, he wasn't playing boundary there because they're in a 2-minute situation. They're going to play to a side. But the boundary corner is where most of the action comes in college football, and he has been on lockdown all night.
2nd and 10. Rippon drops at the 47. Prosser with the sack. Boise State is going to take a timeout, but with just 4 seconds left.
What about spin move? Number 42 with a beautiful spin move on Archie Lewis, the left tackle. Kevin Prosser, who plays mostly on 3rd down, he has 4.4 speed. Coming off the edge at defensive end, and puts a wicked move on Archie Lewis and comes through with a big sack, much needed for the Cowboy defense.
And that's enormous. That's Steve Stannard in the yellow jacket there, the defensive coordinator. He talked to us yesterday about trying to get pressure in the absence of their best pass rusher. They lost Carl Granderson to an ACL injury.
It's one area that you know, they've underachieved, and they've made huge strides on their defense from where they were a season ago. But just not having, you know, that guy that can take over and rush the passer with consistency. But that sack there could not have come at a better time for Kevin Prosser in the Wyoming Cowboy defense.
That's it. Boise State takes that shot. Remember, any penalty could extend the half. Now Wyoming is going to take a timeout once they saw what Boise State had lined up with. It was a 4-receiver look for Brian Harsin. Stannard, we talked about Nebraska and the roots in this program for Craig Bohl. Well, Stannard was a linebacker at Nebraska, also coached there. Was the defensive coordinator during those great years at North Dakota State as well. Timeout. We're back after this. Third down, 4 seconds left, first half. Boise State, shotgun, ripping, heels away, and he's swallowed up again. Lucas Waka. And in a game where it looked like number 13 Boise State would run away from Wyoming, all of a sudden the Cowboys are within 4 and have plenty of momentum going to halftime.
Yeah, look how they overload that right side of the offensive line, run a game, and then Lucas Waka breaks 3. On the other side, you had great pressure by Josiah Hall, the freshman, and Steve Stannard being aggressive in a Hail Mary situation gets the ripping.
Cassie McKinney is with Brian Harsin. Cassie?
Well, Coach, Wyoming has got a lot of momentum to end the half. How do you address it with your team?
Well, we come back out and get it. It's the second half. I mean, they got the momentum going at halftime. Everything changes when you come out. Eliminate turnovers, simple as that. I think we're moving the ball, but we got to do a better job of eliminating turnovers, and then we got to cover some people on defense.
What concerns you about the pressure they're putting on your quarterback right now?
Well, they got us twice there at the end in certain passing situations. So, we just got to get the ball out of our hands, not take a sack, and eliminate those negative plays.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, Cassie. Number 13, Boise State on the road in the Mountain West, trying to stay unbeaten, trying to stay on that path for a New Year's 6. But Wyoming is on the rise and within 4. We're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. Just a few days away, and in Laramie, Wyoming tonight, number 13 Boise State is looking to get to 8-0 and keep that march towards a New Year's 6 game going. But Wyoming just won't cooperate. Rich Waltz, Adam Archuleta, no shortage for offense in a very entertaining first half.
Well, both teams are pretty much exactly the same teams they were before this game. The same personality, the same profile. Boise State showing a lot of balance on their side of the ball, which they've done. And then Wyoming, of course, leaning on Brian Hill to carry them in the second half, and as well as some big plays by their tight end, Jacob Hollister.
Well, we started with running backs, so let's update you on what we've seen so far. Jeremy McNichols from Boise State, a really great first quarter.
Started with the early fumble on their first series of the game, but then came back with a vengeance, showing great tackle breaking ability there for his first touchdown of the game. And then another short touchdown just moments later. And then Brian Hill, he is exactly who we thought he was. He's running with great power inside, tremendous vision inside, and you can see the first guy there usually is not able to get him on the ground, so they have to continue to lean and ride the legs of Brian Hill in the second half.
Hill went for 101, McNichols for 121. Quicken Loans brings you first half numbers. I know you were the defensive player of the year in the then Pac-10, but these offensive numbers have to scare you a bit.
Well, and it comes down, both teams not tackling well, especially in the secondary. Wyoming, some big missed tackles to lead to big plays. And the same thing for the Broncos. They've allowed Brian Hill to get loose in the secondary, but also dropping coverage. Too many wide open tight ends, namely Jacob Hollister, wide open for big plays.
So here you've got Boise State and you've got Wyoming. Obviously there's a lot on the line. The Cowboys are on the rise. Craig Bowl at 5-2. Now they're 3-0 in the Mountain West. Brian Harsin, of course, Boise State undefeated overall in number 13. They're 3-0 in the Mountain West. And the kickoff will have to wait just a bit. Wyoming gets the football. And I guess the question, Adam Archuleta, is all that momentum that Wyoming had with that flurry, both the turnover and the points, does that carry over into the second half?
Well, they're hoping it does. You know, both teams have a lot of things to be positive about, to be excited about. I think it's going to come down to which defense has the best second half for the rest of this game.
Wyoming gets it at 25. We check in with Cassie McKinney.
Yeah, guys, just caught up with Coach Bull coming out of the locker room, and as you can imagine, he is so pleased with the way that first half ended and the way his team was able to bounce back and take control. He said they were able to do that because everyone started taking care of business on both sides of the ball. Everyone stepped up. Really good energy in the locker room. He also told us before the game, scoring in the red zone was key. He said they've been able to move the chains, but we have got to get into the end zone more. And guys, expect them to lean on Brian Hill and those tight ends to lead the way here in the second half.
And remember, everybody, Wyoming was stopped on 4th and goal from the 1 and didn't get any points out of a great drive in that first half. And they opened the second half with Hill straight ahead. Sam McCaskill and Durant Miles made the stop for Boise State. Where do defenses go from this point? Arch, let's start with Boise State.
Well, you know, it's hard. It's got to be hard for a defensive coordinator. In this case, Andy Avalos, the first-year DC for Boise State. It's hard when you call up defenses and you have guys in position, but they don't make the play and they miss the tackles.
Hill, boy, he gets to that second level so well, and he fights his way for a first down. That's a gain of 7.
Well, Boise thinks they have a fumble.
The officials did not react as if it was a fumble. Now Wyoming says they have it. And it looks like Wyoming will hold on to the football.
And I think it was Chancellor James, the free safety. You see him go up there up high, and he says he's trying to make a case that he wrestles the ball away from Hill as he's going to the ground.
Wyoming, their own 36. First possession, second half. Josh Allen, a low throw, and he was looking for Jake Malhart. Sonic quarterback comparison shows both Josh Allen and Brent Rippon. They both had big moments, and they both had throws they wish they had back.
Well, the one interception by Allen was a tip ball by the nose tackle, David Moa. So you can't really put that as a big blemish for him. And I thought Rippon has played pretty well. Now, he was lucky on a couple throws that could have been interceptions. And, of course, the big one by Rico Gafford down the field. But he's made some great decisions and has made some great throw, and so far had a pretty good half.
Second down 10, another throw, Gentry. And he's hit there by Tyler Horton.
I think the one thing that you can say for Josh Allen is, again, he doesn't throw the ball a lot in games. But tonight, he started a little shaky with some bad accuracy. But the throws he has made have been big throws and throws that counted on third downs and for touchdowns.
This is a big third down here. Third down 7 from the 39. Boise State brings 4. Allen escapes the pocket and then is tripped up. That's a terrific play. Blake Whitlock, the junior linebacker out of Reno. Remember, Allen's so good on third down with his feet.
We see Whitlock to Allen's right, and he's the outside rusher going up the field, but he retraces his steps as he sees Allen trying to get upfield and climb the pocket, and makes a great shoestring tackle for a save.
Cedric Wilson is deep. And Woods punts. That's a fair catch at the 11. Enter Jeremy McNichols, Boise State's first touch of the second half. Number 13, Boise State on the road and up, but by only 4 to a 5-2 Wyoming Cowboy team, which has the athlete of the week, the Phillips 66 athlete of the week, Andrew Wingard. Safety for the Cowboys. Semifinalist for the Jim Thorpe Award. There are 16 of those across the country. And a guy that they count on to make a lot of stops, and he has made a lot of those. 78 tackles this year. That leads the Mountain West Conference. And he's been quite busy tonight.
Well, they expect a lot out of these safeties, and mainly having heavy involvement in the run game as the extra defender. But so far tonight, both Wingard and Epps having some trouble with their tackling.
Flags down, movement as well. Just one penalty flag in the first half.
False start. Offense number 66. 5-yard penalty. First down.
First half possession. Now Boise State ripped off some huge drives. Look at those three in the middle. 71, 99, 75.
They were unstoppable for those three drives, but some mistakes cost them at the end of the half.
Rippon fires it out. Spurbeck breaks through to the 15. And he'll be shy of the first down. They mark it at the 17-yard line. It's a 10-yard pickup. And it's 2nd down and 5.
Now, Spurbeck kind of had a quiet first half, but makes X badly miss on the tackle.
Same play, right side. Nice tackle by DJ May.
You can see that coming out of halftime, Brian Harsin trying to ramp up the tempo, trying to get more plays. I think he sensed that they had Wyoming at the end of the second half and their defense on their heels and tired a little bit.
3rd down 5. Boise State 1 of 3 on 3rd downs in the first half. Rippon sideline, incomplete through the hands of Spurbeck. And you don't say that very often when you call a Boise State game.
Spurbeck was open for a brief moment, and I thought Rippon was just a tad bit late. But that hits him right in the hands, and you don't see that very often. Number 82 not come down with a catch.
Sean Whale getting ready to punt this thing for Boise State. Austin Conway is deep, not a good kick, off the side of the foot. Takes a good bounce for the Broncos. Conway gambles, picks it up, and he'll collect 4 yards on a 44-yard punt. Second half, number 13, Boise State up by 4 over Wyoming. This is a critical game in the Mountain West and nationally in that race for a group of 5 bid in a New Year's 6 bowl game. Last 4 possessions for this Wyoming offense, and that last possession on that list was their first touch of the second half. And on 1st and 10, Wyoming, good field position, their own 43. Sophomore quarterback Josh Allen has been on target. And this guy, Brian Hill, has been tough to tackle. But David Moa, once Moa gets a hold of you, you're as good as done. The sophomore out of San Diego.
Now, he's played a terrific game, and he's a smaller, he's only about 271 pounds, pretty small for nose tackle standards. But not only is he tough, remember we saw him stack it up on that goal line stand on 4th and short, but has the athletic ability to get off blocks and make plays in space as well.
He had the block on the last-second field goal attempt against BYU last week, and Hill, tough going right over the middle. Moa let his linebackers do the work. Ben Weaver. And at the bottom of that pile, Sam McCaskill. And this is a long 3rd down now, 3rd down and 10. Well, between Moa's face paint and Brian Hill's mouthpiece, Halloween is not far away. On 3rd and 10. Time and a bullet throw broken up. No flags. Moxie on the sideline. Crowd wanted a flag, but the officials really have not thrown flags when there's contact.
You can see they're letting him play a little bit. That ball was a little bit inside, and I think Josh Allen is pretty fortunate that Moxie, instead of going for the pass breakup, didn't jump underneath and take that one to the house.
Rugby style kick, and it's fielded at the 5. It's loose and it's out of bounds. It's out of bounds. If it went through the end zone, it's a safety, but I think it went out at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, it went out. It went out in the field of play, but they are extremely fortunate that that wasn't a touchback, and Wyoming getting the ball on the 20-yard line.
Wow. Boise State avoiding their third turnover. 21-17. Boise State on top. Well, a lot of things went wrong for Cedric Wilson on this punt.
Well, it started with the decision to field the punt inside the 5-yard line, and what a play by Jalen Ortiz, the backup safety. And that was about a half yard from being a safety. 2 points for the Wyoming Cowboys.
As it is, it's 1st and 10. Boise State from their own 1-yard line, but they've been here before tonight.
Yeah, and Steve Stanner dialed up a blitz that worked the last time Boise was in this situation, but a missed tackle allowed McNichols to get it out about midfield.
Yeah, 40-yard run. It was a 99-yard touchdown drive. Play action. Rippon taking a shot down the field, and he overthrows Spurbeck.
Well, you can say one thing. Brian Harsin is an aggressive play caller. You just don't see this very often. Play action. There was pretty good pressure into Brett Rippon's face, but throwing play action out of your own end zone is a dangerous, aggressive call.
Now remember, we talked about it. He calls 1st and 2nd down. Zach Hill, one of the co-offensive coordinators, calls 3rd down plays. 2nd and 10. McNichols in the backfield, and he's straight ahead, and he gets maybe a half yard before Logan Wilson, the redshirt freshman out of Casper, made the hit. Robert Priester in there as well.
Well, another blitz. This time Andrew Wingard coming as a strong safety. Blitzes through the B gap between the guard and the tackle, and that forces McNichols to try and cut back, but the rest of the Wyoming defense was right there waiting.
3rd down 9. Boise State just 1 of 4 on 3rd downs. Shotgun. Rippon with time. Steps up, dumps it out in the flats. McNichols racing for the stick, and I think he's got it. He does.
Well, that is a big play from McNichols. This is a check down. And if you're on defense, you have to find a way to tackle him. But watch the effort and the speed of McNichols. He catches this ball about the 3-yard line, and then he sprints to the sideline and picks up a huge 1st down for the Bronco offense.
So some breathing room. Alexander Madison into the ball game, along with a squadron of tight ends for Boise State from their own 12. Rippon fires, sideline, tight spiral. Spurbeck. Priester with a nice tackle. There was a lot of green up that sideline. 11 yards on the throw and the catch.
I would imagine that Thomas Spurbeck has to be a big part of this second half. You can see the chemistry. That was perfect timing. Rippon hit Spurbeck right out of his break on a speed out. And it was too fast for Robert Priester to make the play.
Out to the 23-yard line. And it's Madison who carries 3 or 4 Cowboys with him. And he's got a healthy gain of 11. That's a 1st down, another 1st down for Boise State.
I tell you, Madison, when he's had a chance tonight, the freshman coming into this game, only 20 carries on the season, but you see that after contact, he has been tough to tackle and has done a great job when McNichols comes out for a rest.
To get it again on 1st and 10, and Madison carrying for another 1st down. That's a 15-yard pickup. Marcus Epps and Robert Priester made the stop. And he comes out. McNichols comes back in.
Again, another tough run after contact. You see Robert Priester comes in. He tries to strip the ball, but Madison keeping those legs driving and getting the extra yardage.
Yeah, he'll get high marks for keeping it high and tight and holding on to that football. McNichols back in, blasted at the line of scrimmage. Surges ahead for 2 yards. Let's check in with Brent Stover in New York. Brent?
Big one in the Big Ten. Alex Hornibrook retreats and finds Robert Wheelwright. The Badgers in the third quarter leading Nebraska 17-7, guys.
All right, that's a significant game, obviously. A couple of teams near those two have lost today. Baylor and West Virginia, the number 8 and 10 teams in the country, have tasted defeat. Right here tonight, we've got number 13 Boise State in a tight one on the road at Wyoming. And Brett Rippon fires it high and wide. He'll bring up 3rd down and 7.
Well, you can see, Boise State having really good success in the inside power running game. And they have to pick up this 3rd down, 3rd and 7, so they have to throw the ball. But the inside running game working very well for their offense.
McNichols out of the backfield, a big catch and run on a key 3rd down conversion on this drive.
Watch McNichols in the seam out of the backfield.
Blitz comes, throw incomplete. Cedric Wilson, the intended receiver. Marcus Epps on the coverage.
You got to watch out when you have McNichols. They didn't go to him, but he's lined up here. Last week, he hit a big seam in the middle of the hash marks against the BYU Cougars. This time, Rippon tries to go to his right side, but good coverage on the back end.
Austin Conway is deep. And WYO end over end. Conway trying to decoy. That takes a nice Boise State bounce, and it rolls inside the 10 and down to the 8. 6.5 minutes left, third quarter. Still a 4-point game in Laramie. The Chick-fil-A fan cam. Late October, Halloween a few days away in Laramie. Temperatures in the 60s today. Had some winds in the afternoon. That's died down. And a good crowd here for Wyoming. And Boise State, as always, travels so well. And the Bronco fans are here. And there's a lot on the line, both in the Mountain West and in this national picture for number 13 Boise State. And they are the highest ranked Group of 5 team. College football playoff rankings for the first time coming up this week. And with a couple of teams ahead of them losing today, Boise State with a win here on the road could polish that resume a little more. But Wyoming not having any of it. Allen's throw, sideline caught there. And that's Tanner Gentry for 12 yards.
I think this is what they like about Josh Allen, as Gentry is working on the corner, Tyler Horton, but how he rips that ball out there, play action pass, and a bullet to his favorite wide receiver. Now Boise State using a lot of line movement here in the second half, pinching the middle. Look for Wyoming to counter by some outside runs.
Hill, and whatever adjustments Boise State has made defensively in the second half against Hill, they have worked.
Well, they've been attacking inside between the guard and the center on both sides. And what Boise State is doing is they're using line movement, and they're pinching their defensive tackles and ends to the strong side to try and take away the inside running game.
Second down 8. Hill had 101 yards in the first half. He has just 11 here in the second half. Conway around the left side into the 25. And it's just a yard. Cameron Hartsfield made the stop. And Wyoming staring at another long third down.
Well, so far in the second half, Boise State is winning first down. You know, that was something that the Cowboys offensively were winning in the first half, but that's put them in 3rd and long situations, and that's not really what the offense is built to convert on. But the front is really taking away the inside running game for Wyoming.
On 3rd down, 7, Allen pressured, still in the pocket, and he'll get forward to the 30, but he's 2 yards shy of the first down. Ben Weaver made the stop. And so Andy Avalos, the defensive coordinator for Boise State, and heck, even Steve Stannard, the defensive coordinator for Wyoming, must have had really good halftime adjustments. Remember, Wilson fumbled that last one, has it at the 19, Wilson to the 26. Adam Archuleta, when we talk about the New Year's Six for a group of 5 team, these are the 2 top rated teams right now. Ranked at 20 is Western Michigan. Ranked at 13 is Boise State. Now, Western Michigan has wins on the road in the Big Ten over Northwestern and Illinois. And of course, Boise State took down Washington State. Washington State having a great run in the Pac-12. They beat Oregon State on the road, and they also beat BYU. And the thing about Boise State, when they get to a New Year's Six, we talked about it, they win. 3 Fiesta Bowl wins, 2007, 2010, and 2014. McNichols. Good play action. Ripping, rolling, throwing, Spurbeck. And it's incomplete. And you know what? The other thing, Arch, the Mountain West as a conference in New Year's Six games, they are 4-1. Whether it was a BCS before it was a New Year's Six. And their only loss for the Mountain West in one of those bowl games was to Boise State when they were in the WAC.
The Mountain West has played some good ball, and I think it says a lot about it that when they do get picked to represent in the New Year's Six bowls, that they go in and they do a great job of doing that. Obviously, Boise State, the way they travel helps as well.
Of course, Boise State 2 years ago beat Arizona in the Fiesta. But here, the Wyoming defense playing well. As we get late into the 3rd quarter, no one has scored here in the 2nd half.
I think twice here to start the 2nd half, Boise State has gone to play action passing on 1st down, and it hasn't worked. And so now they've been put in some 3rd and long situations and had a hard time converting as well.
McNichols just split out to the very bottom of the screen.
And he's on a corner, so that means you have a good matchup inside on linebackers and safeties.
And there's the inside throw. McNichols the catch, but he's well short of the 1st down. Robert Priester with the coverage.
Robert Priester having a pretty good game tonight in coverage. These are tough receivers to cover for an entire night. And a good reaction from both Priester and Waka coming from the other side of the field to converge on McNichols to get off the field.
It's 4th and 3. Whale will punt it. Austin Conway is deep. And a good high spiral. Fair catch. Conway makes it. Right at the 25-yard line. 43-yard punt. Covering everything from the field through fantasy. Tops puts a fresh spin on your football Sunday. Our team of experts tomorrow morning, right at work, 9 Eastern. That other pregame show, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Lots of offense first half. Lots of defense 3rd quarter.
Let's see if Wyoming sees the same thing from the box. Brent Vegan, that Boise State is taking away the inside, and see if they start to attack the perimeter.
Allen throws sideline, and it's incomplete. For the most part, Wyoming has protected Allen today. And you're talking about a Boise State team that came in leading the Mountain West with 25 sacks.
They play a lot of maximum protection looks in some three-man routes, and that was a major shot. Tanner Vallejo comes in there and hits Allen as he's trying to throw the ball.
Second down 10. Short throw, Walhart deflected and incomplete. Jonathan Moxie just a little late on the deflection.
I think both offenses coming out after halftime and just not quite the energy that we saw in the second quarter. That should have been an easy catch by Walhart, who is normally a sure-handed guy. But another third long situation for the Wyoming Cowboys.
As you pointed out, Wyoming's not been great on third down this season, and tonight, as you saw, just 3 of 9. Blitz comes. Time for Allen. Steps up, escapes. Allen has the first down, still on his feet, and to the 41-yard line. Andy Avalos, the defensive coordinator for Boise State, told us this week that Josh Allen scares him on third down.
Well, and you got to be extremely disappointed defensively. It's demoralizing when you have 3rd and 10 and you have good coverage on the back end, but you can't get the quarterback down when he scrambles up the middle.
Hill. Boy, Allen has, I mean, if you were to draw up a quarterback for this program in this system, it would be big, 6'5", 222, ultra competitive, mobile, and there's the guy that they, I mean, the blueprint was Carson Wentz, right? He was the guy that Craig Bull recruited at North Dakota State. He's doing okay.
Yeah, you know, I think we have a long way to go before we start making the Josh Allen, Carson Wentz comparisons. But the thing is that when you talk to the staff and you watch him, he's still raw, but he still has a tremendous amount of upside. So he's going to get better and better the more he plays.
Well, you're right. I mean, he had a year junior college. He wasn't highly recruited. When Craig Bull went down to offer him, he went to Allen's home and said, look, I'm not recruiting you to come up and be a quarterback. I'm recruiting you to be the guy. You are the guy that we need. And he was hurt last year, almost the entire season, but boy, is he been outstanding this year.
And he's taken off so much pressure from this running game. Last year, they were extremely one-dimensional, but you see what he can do with his arm talent.
Third down, right open, C.J. Johnson. First down, Wyoming. Boise State 29. 25 yards, Allen to Johnson.
Well, Boise's secondary tonight is having a hard time losing the inside receivers and the tight ends in coverage. C.J. Johnson, the slot receiver, just hooks up. You see all the linebackers reacting to Allen as he tries to break the pocket, but then Allen keeps his eyes downfield and hits his freshman wide receiver for a big play.
Number 13, Boise State on the road and on top, but by only 4, and Wyoming is moving. From Laramie, you're watching college football on CBS Sports Network, presented by Geico. In Laramie, 21-17, start of the fourth. Wyoming has not been a good fourth quarter team, but a great opportunity here up in our football hideaway. Rich Welt's Adam Archuleta as Wyoming on first down and 10 inside Boise State territory to the 27-yard line. This is a 15 minutes of football that could shake up or shape the landscape of the Group of Five and obviously the Mountain West Conference.
That third quarter, you know, both offenses were hot in the second quarter, and then the defenses came out and started to make plays. And the thing that worked for Wyoming was their quarterback, Josh Allen, making a big scramble on 3rd and 10, and then another big third down where the scramble forced the defense to come up, and then he found his wide receiver from behind.
Another scramble on 2nd down and 8, and he'll pick up 5 yards. It'll bring up 3rd down and about 4. Now Wyoming is down 4. They are in field goal range, and Cooper Roth has hit from 40 yards already tonight. Brian Hill in the slot, and now joins Allen in the backfield. A 3rd down and 4. And it's Allen who keeps, and Tanner Vallejo absolutely plants him with some help from Ben Weaver. And it looks like Wyoming is going to settle for a shot at 3.
Boy, what a perfect play from Vallejo and Weaver. Remember, the first drive of the game, Allen ran the exact same play on 3rd down, kept it. Hill became the lead blocker and got the first down. This time, they weren't having it. Weaver and Vallejo knew exactly what was happening, and they stuck Allen in the backfield.
Freshman kicker, and he drills another. So he's 2 for 2. And this is a 1-point game with 13 minutes left. Craig Bull and the Cowboys within a point of number 13. Brett Rippon, Jeremy McNichols waiting to get their hands on the football. Boise State's lead is down to 1. Geico difference makers, and most of the difference was made in the first half. First with Jeremy McNichols for Boise State. And you can see Brian Hill, both are over 100 yards.
They're both pretty quiet there in the third quarter. I think it's pretty amazing. Boise State really only gained about 30 yards of total offense in the entire third quarter, and for a while it looked like they were almost unstoppable for a moment there in the second quarter, but that's kind of been their personality this season. They looked dominant at times, and then other times too many mistakes allow the other team to get back in the game.
End over end kick, Jonathan Moxie out to the 22-yard line. Let's head to New York. Brent Stover for this upstate. Clemson and Florida State.
The Noles with a 9-play, 60-yard drive capped off by this 4-yard touchdown run by Dalvin Cook. 4 minutes to play second quarter. Clemson still leads 14-7.
All right, thank you, Brent, for the update. Florida State 40-5 at home with Jimbo Fisher. Number 13, Boise State, up a point with the ball. Under 13 minutes left in the fourth. And McNichols to the 30. What tweaks do you make to this Boise State offense to get it rolling?
Well, I think they just did. I think, you know, they have to use their workhorse, McNichols. And he was the centerpiece that really kind of got this thing going for them early on in the game. And that was the first time this half on first down to start a drive that they have gone with a run play. It's normally been play action pass, and they haven't hit it, and that's put them in 2nd and 3rd and long. This is exactly where they want to be.
2nd, 2, ripping a slant on the money to Wilson. And he's caught by the shoe tops. And Robert Priester of Wyoming.
But see, it just does so much for your offense when you're sitting at 2nd and short. You know, now Wyoming, they don't know what defense to call. You know, the running game is still in play, but you see that play action pass, that opens up the passing lane for the slant.
Close to midfield on a 3-yard pickup. The junior McNichols, the guy that came out of Long Beach, a running back, a wide receiver when they needed him. And once they split him out, it was in a game at Nevada a couple years ago. They split him out at wide receiver. All of a sudden they realized they had a threat both in the backfield and outside of the tackles.
Surprised that we haven't seen more of him in the passing game, lined up as a wide receiver tonight.
2nd and 7. Blitz comes. Rippin's throw on the money. Caught there. Chaz Anderson. And another big pickup. Rico Gafford on the coverage.
Well, you can see Rippin right now is starting to feel it. The last 2 balls on slants have been on the money. It's pretty good coverage right there, but Anderson has the inside track and comes down with a football. When Rippin can get back there and fire it on time, he shows great timing and precision with his wide receivers.
Inside Wyoming territory at the 33. Looks like a little flea flicker. Spurbeck looking. Rippin made the catch. Rippin to the 10. Touchdown, Boise State. Thomas Spurbeck, his 2nd touchdown throw. And Rippin made the catch and rumbles in 33 yards. And that is vintage Boise State.
Well, you see they've had so much success over the last 10 years on these plays. You know, Spurbeck, you've seen him do this before. You know he can throw the ball. But everybody's attention goes to Spurbeck on the reverse, and nobody accounts for Rippin coming out of the backfield. That is a perfect play design for the Boise offense.
Great design, exceptional execution, and Boise State puts up 7 more. Brian Harsin and the Broncos up 8 in the 4th in Wyoming. Boise State is 7-0, trying to get to 8-0. Of their 7-0 starts in 04, an 11-1 finish. Perfect season, perfect ending against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl. In 08, a loss to number 11 TCU down in San Diego. Fiesta Bowl win, and a perfect season in 09, beating TCU. Oh, that heartbreaker in overtime on that cold night in Reno. In 2011, they finished at 12-1. TCU took them down. Brian Harsin and the Broncos have a chance to get to 8-0, 4-0 in conference. And with a couple of losses in front of them at number 13, when the college football playoff rankings come out this week for the first time, who knows? They might be closer to the top 10 than number 13. Here's what's at stake in the Mountain West. Wyoming start, a surprise to everybody. Maybe not Craig Bowl. They knew they would have a good team. They're 3-0. Boise State at 3-0. New Mexico sits at 2-1.
And the winner of this game pretty much puts you in the driver's seat in the Mountain Division. So a lot at stake. And one thing you can say about Boise State is they have found ways this season to overcome adversity and close out games.
Now we'll find out what Wyoming is made of. Brian Hill over the left side, and I ask you the same question. To get this offense rolling, what do you need more of from Wyoming?
Well, we've been talking about it here for a while, but attacking the perimeter, because in the second half, the inside has been clogged up. So we need to see more Brian Hill hit the edges to force Boise State to make another adjustment.
2nd down 1. Now a pitch back. Allen scrambling. He's got nobody open, and he's going to fire it out of bounds. Brings up 3rd down and 1, and we check in with Cassie McKinney.
Guys, after that touchdown, Brett Rippin came over to the sideline and was bombarded by all his teammates. He is all smiles now, and that touchdown really injecting a lot of life into this Boise State sideline. And something Coach Harsin said this week that's been most impressive about Rippin is his turnaround after negative plays. He makes a mistake and then doesn't shy away. It shows just how competitive he is. He learned that it really is all about the next play, and that showed with the way that first half ended and how he's held on, guys.
Boy, Cassie, that's a great point, because he didn't make that adjustment last year. Sometimes those bad plays lingered, and on 3rd down and short, I'm not sure. The ball looks like it's loose.
Well, there's a big extra effort. The
and it's
question
Hill
is,
who has it, and does he have enough for the 1st down? And he does.
Well, the extra effort, it looked like he was stopped in the backfield, and there was a pile of Cowboys and Broncos. Now let's see, does his knee touch? You see he stays on his feet. His knees never go down. And then he lunges forward to pick up the first down.
Wow. What was it Craig Ball told us yesterday about his ball club? Got to be cowboy tough. This one down the sideline, and it's caught. Jacob Hollister again. How did he see that football?
Well, Cameron Hartsfield, again, the safety involved in the coverage. And boy, I have no idea how Hollister catches this ball. He comes down in bounds, but that's the second time in this game on that sideline he has had to make an acrobatic adjustment for the football and comes through with a huge play.
What an enormous night for the senior tight end. Now emptying the playbook is Wyoming, and Gentry is sniffed out. Don't you get the sense that when it comes to trick plays, the Boise State defense has seen it all in practice? There's nothing they haven't seen, right?
Yeah, it hasn't worked at all for Wyoming. And now, again, it puts you in a second and long situation. But boy, it doesn't get any better than that from Jonathan Moxey, the boundary corner, getting off the block and making an open field tackle on a shifty, athletic wide receiver.
And Tanner Gentry actually lost 3 yards. Ball just outside the 40-yard line of Boise State. Allen, an out pattern. Nice catch by Mulhart, who had to reach back behind him. And the big wide receiver makes this a little more manageable of a third down. It'll be 3rd down and 6 off a 7-yard gain. Six of 13 on 3rd down. Tonight's is Wyoming. And Josh Allen has picked up 3 of those 3rd downs on a broken play. Boise State shows blitz. They come with only 3. He's flushed, double pumps, got it out, caught by Harshman. Now the question was he past the line of scrimmage, 7 yards on the throw? And it looked like he got rid of it just before he crossed the line.
His entire body has to be past the line of scrimmage, and I think it's pretty evident. But what a throw, and he zips it right between the safety and the linebacker.
Yep, a yard behind. 1st and 10.
Josh Allen has made some huge plays tonight on 3rd down.
This is Whip, and he's going to lose 2 yards. Ben Weaver, good pursuit there, with some help from Jabril Frazier, the sophomore, who plays that stud linebacker spot.
Well, you see what Allen's athletic ability has done. He's picked up some first downs by using his legs, but just the mere threat of him running has made the linebackers commit, and then he's been able to make a big throw behind to his receivers.
Second down, 13. Allen, sideline, a wobbler, and it's incomplete. He's been pretty tight with a football and getting it sideline to sideline, but that one fluttered on him.
This is going to be an interesting sequence here because it's 3rd and 13, and you wonder here with 6 minutes and 52 seconds left, down by 8, does Craig Bohl think this is 4-down territory? His defense has played well in the 3rd quarter. Now they gave up a big touchdown drive, but it's going to be a big decision here depending on what happens here on 3rd and 13.
Hill is back in the game and in the backfield with Allen. Boise State with pressure. Allen's in trouble. Looking, firing, end zone, caught! Touchdown! Gentry!
Yeah, you got to go for 2 here.
Tanner Gentry at the back of the end zone. Allen escaped and threw a strike.
But I don't know how they connected on this play. It was an unbelievable effort in the first place for Allen to get outside the pocket. He's running for his life to the sideline. He makes a gesture. He throws the ball while he's running on a rope. And then Tanner Gentry on the end line goes up and gets the ball while he's covered. That is unbelievable play again on 3rd down from Josh Allen.
Now going for 2.
Yeah, you go for 2 here because a 1-point game, you still have to kick a field goal. You might as well tie it up.
Conway in motion. Allen rolls, looks, fires, end zone, caught! It's tied. It's Mohart. Look at the smile on Craig Bull's face. This young team is growing up before his eyes. Josh Allen to Tanner Gentry, and then to Tyets. Mohart back of the end zone. $28 apiece, 6:42 left. Number 13 Boise State up and coming Wyoming. Serve Pro brings you the play of the game.
Well, this is pretty unbelievable. Tanner Gentry is well covered, but then Josh Allen rolling to his right, throws a frozen rope to the back of the end zone to Gentry. Gentry's going to be well covered. You're going to see 2 defenders on him. But then Allen is just trying to make a play. He's motioning for Gentry to try to get open. There's 2 Bronco defenders there. But Gentry comes down with the ball.
This is Wilson. He's upended at the 27-yard line. Well, what's at stake here? A lot for Boise State. And you've got to know that Western Michigan is watching. San Diego State is watching. Other teams in that group of 5 that have designs on the New Year's 6 bowl game.
Oh, you remember last week against the BYU Cougars in the 4th quarter with 10 minutes left, Rippon and the Bronco offense was at their best.
Yeah, that was a 10-play, 90-yard drive. McNichols and Jeremy McNichols with a big 10-yard pickup. Andrew Wingard made the stop. And after a slow 3rd quarter for both offenses, it's game back on in the 4th.
And both quarterbacks really, they've done it in different ways. Rippon was showing great timing and feel for what the Cowboys were doing offensively. And then on the other side of the ball, Josh Allen doing it with his legs, making outstanding throws.
2nd and less than a yard, and McNichols is stoned. Marcus Epps, the sophomore safety out of Los Angeles.
Boy, safeties had a hard time in the first half, but Marcus Epps hitting the line of scrimmage and getting to McNichols with a great tackle.
Epps is a guy who walked on from Los Angeles. He walked on up here in Laramie. Now he's a captain as a sophomore and on scholarship. 3rd down and a yard. Play action Rippon. He's going to keep it. Rippon dives. He's close. I don't think he got it. Wyoming says the ball is loose, and he's short of the 1st down by a yard.
Boy, I thought he had his wide receiver, A.J. Richardson. He was open. Richardson beat his man and was wide open, but Rippon couldn't find him. This would have went for a big play, totally unaccounted for, but the pressure inside by Josiah Hall makes him pull it down, and a huge play for the Cowboy defense.
All right, it's less than a yard, and whistle blows the play dead. It was 4th and less than a yard, and a delay is going to back it up.
Kicking team. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
4.5 minutes left. And Boise State will punt it on 4th down and 6. If you're just happening by, this has been a marvelous game here tonight in the Mountain West. For a program on the rise, Wyoming at 5-2 and 3-0 in conference. Boise State number 13 trying to get into that top 10.
Wyoming playing their punt safe just to make sure something funny doesn't happen with a fake punt.
WYO flags down again, though no whistle. This is Conway, catch of the 21, he's in trouble. And he squirts through, Conway to the 30, lost the ball, it's picked up. They'll say he's down. A lot going on. There's a flag back at the 30. Conway somehow got through that first wave. And let's see where they're marking him. One official is out at the 30, the other's back at the 17.
Illegal formation. Kicking team. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the
Well, this isn't going well for Boise State.
Timeout.
.28 apiece. 4:22 left. 7,200 feet up. Great ball game tonight in Laramie. Key call here. The official called Conway down, but his knee never touched. And this is going to cost Wyoming at least 15 yards because the return actually came back out to the 38. But as it is, Wyoming gets it at the 22. And I think because the whistle was blown, which stopped the play, they can't go back and move the football to where Conway ended up. The play didn't stop. Everybody kept playing. But the official apparently blew his whistle. And as you saw in that replay, that's a big break for Boise State. 2nd down and 8 now for Wyoming. Look at the yardage. Both teams headed towards 500 on this night. 2nd and 8. Allen. Middle. Incomplete. C.J. Johnson on a crossing pattern. Last 2 possessions. 10 plays each. A field goal and a touchdown. And very good on 3rd down tonight, Arch. 8 of 15.
Well, and that's in large part to the heroics of Josh Allen, doing it both scrambling but making huge throws while breaking the pocket to his receivers on 3rd down.
Well, 3rd down and 8 in their own territory. Allen is at time all night. This is caught. Forward progress for Gentry. He's got the 1st down. 10 yards on the throw from Allen to Gentry, who caught that last touchdown.
Well, you can see just how strong his arm was. This is just a bullet. You know, Tanner Gentry is well covered on this play. See a good break on the ball by the cornerback Tyler Horton. But Allen with great timing, and Gentry showing some sticky hands tonight.
Conway through the middle. And Conway is out to the 42. That's a 7-yard pickup. Clock runs. 3 minutes left in this football game. Number 13, Boise State and Wyoming. At 5-2, Wyoming has won 3 straight for the first time ever in their history in the Mountain West Conference. This is the 17th season of the Mountain West. 2nd down and 3. Hill bounces outside, stays on his feet. Man, he has a 2nd and a 3rd gear that you just don't see very often.
Well, that's just great team defense by Boise State. Durant Miles and Jonathan Moxie closed down the edge on a running back that's been breaking tackles and getting outside all night. That was played perfectly by the Broncos defense.
But after the initial hit, enough for the 1st down. 1st and 10. Wyoming, their own 45. Sean Wick in the game. Replaces Hill. Warren looking, rolling, fires, and incomplete. Intended for Jake Mulhart. 2nd down and 10.
That was a wise choice. This was a throwaway the entire way. Again, this is a 3-man route, and all of his options are covered. And instead of forcing it, he throws it away and gives his offense another chance on 2nd and 10.
3 touchdown throws, 274 yards through the air for the redshirt sophomore Josh Allen. Both teams have all their timeouts. 2nd and 10. Allen on a quarterback keeper, and he's going to get 3, but this is another long 3rd down.
There was something about that play, it just didn't look right. You know, I think.
Timeout, Boise State, 30 seconds.
Brian Hill has been much better when he works out of the dot behind the quarterback. The shotgun running game hasn't been as strong here tonight. But 3rd and 7, you know, Wyoming has done a good job tonight on 3rd down. They've been good on 3rd down the entire season. But tonight, especially here in the 2nd half, led by Josh Allen, have been almost unstoppable.
That timeout was a Boise State timeout, sensing maybe on 3rd and 7 they're going to get the ball back and they want some time on that clock. Of course, it allows Wyoming to get to the sideline, and for Brent Vigen, their offensive coordinator, to dial up a 3rd down. And they've been really good on 3rd down, 9 of 16. 3rd and 7. Allen, long throw, and he had a man wide open. It was Hollister. And the 3rd down magic evaporates for the Cowboys.
He's going to see this on tape, and this was a big missed opportunity. Hollister cuts to the middle of the field behind one of his wide receivers, and one of the only poor passes of the second half from Allen.
Ethan Wood will punt. Cedric Wilson deep. He fumbled a return earlier in the ball game. And it bounces at the 5 and checks up, and it's going to die right at the 10-yard line. 1:38 left in this football game. 28-28. CBS Sports Network's got more Mountain West football for you. Lexington Thomas and UNLV on the road to take on San Jose State, only on the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Well, we got a ball game tonight, Rich.
There are the standings. Wyoming and Boise State at 3-0. Remember, San Diego State sits at 4-0, and San Diego State still has to come to Laramie in November. Boise State's kicker getting loose. Tyler Rassa. Rippin, shotgun, pressure, throws out of bounds. Wyoming got to Rippin twice in the first half. 2nd down and 10.
Well, they got to him in the first half, but that was in the 2-minute situation. But for the most part tonight, Rippin's offensive line is protected extremely well.
Second down 10. Rippin, flushed, hit, ball's loose, it's out of the end zone. That's going to be a safety unless it's a forward pass. No ruling yet.
I think that ball was out before his hands started coming forward. Chase Appleby, the nose tackle, wraps around, and I believe knocks the ball out before Rippin had a chance to make that forward motion.
It's a safety. Certainly to be reviewed. Wow. Chase Appleby
here, and he's going to wrap out as Rippon tries to escape to his left. The nose tackle running a game. And it looked like that ball was out.
Oh, I don't know. Arm was back. I don't know that there's enough to overturn that, Arch.
Called a fumble on the field. I don't think there's I don't think there's anything conclusive, Rich, to say it was going forward. Called a fumble on the field. I think that play is going to stand. What a play by the senior nose tackle, Chase Appleby.
A safety, 2 points for Wyoming, and they get the football. Remember Boise State using that timeout to try to save some clock. And the Broncos have just 2 timeouts left. Kevin Marr, the referee, on the headsets with the replay official.
You know, based on the looks that we've seen, I don't see any evidence that says Rippon's hand was going forward. This play's going to stand.
Anxious moments for Brian Harsin and Craig Bull.
Well, you keep mentioning the stakes. Obviously, we know what Boise State is playing for. Well, let's not forget what Craig Bull and the Wyoming Cowboys are playing for as well.
Further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Safety.
So Wyoming's lead is 2. 2002, the last time Wyoming took down a ranked team.
Well, now Boise State, they can onside this kick. A minute 25 with 2 timeouts left. They've tried 3 onside kicks this season and have yet to recover one. But that's going to be your only choice here.
Wyoming has covered the only onside kick against them. You rarely see an onside kick from the 20, but here we go.
Yeah, there's not enough time on the clock with only 2 timeouts. This is your only chance if you're Boise State.
Now Wyoming is going to call a timeout. In the first half.
Timeout, Wyoming. Their second.
Well, what'd we say, Rich?
62nd timeout.
Coming out of halftime, I said the defense that plays the best in the second half. After all the offense, is going to have a chance to win this game.
Timeout.
You know what? For Wyoming, there's so much that they haven't done in a long time. How about beating Boise State? They've never done it. Their first matchup was 2002. And Boise State has gone 10-0 against Wyoming. And all but one has not been close, that 2006 game. I mean, think about this. Wyoming has a chance to go to 4-0 in the Mountain West. They've never won the Mountain West.
And in the driver's seat in the Mountain Division as well, the winner of this game.
In fact, their last conference title was 1993. Heck, their last winning season was 2011. And here they are with a chance to take down number 13, get to 6-2, take control of the Mountain Division over Boise State. Rasa with the onside kick. Gets a good bounce. Gentry has it and secures it at the 34. Tyler Gentry.
Clock operator. Please put the game clock at 1.
Brian Harsin. And Craig Bull, who built and took that North Dakota State program to incredible heights. 3 consecutive national championships. He arrived here, went 4-8 his first year, and sputtered to 2-10 last year. They were young, 26 freshmen last year. They were banged up. But this year, not only have they turned a corner, but an enormous step forward. If they can milk this last minute 24. Hill straight ahead, fighting for yardage. Hill busts inside the 25. He's close to a first down. Boise State with 2 timeouts.
Well, he has a formula, and he talked about that formula yesterday when we met with him in his office about what type of player comes to Laramie and contributes on his football team. The same formula he used at North Dakota State, and that's toughness and resilience. And the biggest piece to this offense, the addition of Josh Allen, who you've seen grow up here tonight, making some huge throws in big moments to come through for his coach.
Cowboy tough is what he preaches. You see that in the Wyoming coaches' offices, in their weight room, in their team room. And as an example of cowboy tough, when he arrived at Wyoming, one of the first things he did was take a look around, watch the game film, and take all the fancy uniforms they had and threw them away. He said, we're not going to be a team that wears 8 to 10 different uniforms. We got 2. We got home and we've got away.
Well, the scoreboard still says 2 timeouts for Boise State. There is a long huddle here by the officiating crew. I don't know if there was an official timeout called yet.
You see on the scoreboard, upper right, and let's see if we get an explanation from Kevin Marr. And you're right, Craig Bohl is looking up the scoreboard. You saw him with one finger up. Now Brian Harsin will get a visit from Kevin Marr.
I sure would like to know what's happening right now on the field.
Well, I think that it's timeouts.
I'm not really sure what happened. It looked like just a standard run play. Brian Hill up the middle for 9 yards, so the clock doesn't stop on first down. And the official timeout on the scoreboard still says 2 timeouts for Boise State. I know Craig Bohl didn't call a timeout.
Kevin Marr right now. And he's got all the officials around. Now the officials are supposed to track the timeouts manually. They do it with a card and a pen. This is a situation too where you can go back and look at the official play-by-play and to see when the timeouts were called.
Well, Boise State clearly called a timeout when Wyoming was on 3rd and 7.
Yes, and if they called a timeout to stop the clock here, they should have 1 left.
Correct. Is that how math works?
It is, Arch. It is. Well, I mean, you can call it math, but right now it's now the referee, Kevin Marr. Well, obviously, if Boise State was able to stop the clock and they have 2 timeouts, something's amiss, because you're right. They did call it a timeout when they thought they were going to get the ball back. It saved some time, and it did save them time until that great play by Appleby forced the safety.
There was an inadvertent whistle on the play. The ball will be put 2 yards from where the dead ball spot was. Please put the game clock at 1:15.
All right, so essentially,
Boise State.
They say inadvertent whistle. Is that what he said?
right. And guess what? Brian Harsin just called a timeout. And that's his second. He's got 1 left. After all of that, so Boise State has used the timeout to stop the clock. They've got 1 left. 2nd down and 3. Hill close to the first down. They'll be a yard shy. Let's see if Boise uses their last, and they do. So, 1:08 left.
Timeout. Boise State, 3rd and final. 60 seconds.
It's going to be 3rd down and 2. Now, Arch, if you want to do the math here, if Wyoming doesn't pick up this 1st down.
Well, let's back up a second. That was a huge inadvertent whistle to put the ball back 2 more yards, because they were sitting there at 2nd and 1, and then they went to 2nd and 4. That is a major mistake.
Well, look, Wyoming's going to, if they don't pick up this 1st down, they've got a decision to make on. But first things first, if they pick up the 1st down, the game is essentially over.
Correct. But
if they don't, then they've got a decision to make as to whether they try a field goal
against a team that is very proficient at blocking field goals.
Hollister in motion. Hill straight ahead. He's close. He's got it. 1st down, Wyoming. And number 13, Boise State, cannot stop the clock.
Well, right up the gut. It's been good to him all night. Caden Jackson, the right guard, pulls around. And another critical block and surge by Chase Roulier, the senior leader in the offensive line.
Victory formation. Wyoming has come a long way in a short time to 6-2 and 4-0, and they take down, for the first time since 2002, a ranked team. And tonight, it's number 13, Boise State. Chase Appleby, the senior defensive lineman, who forced the safety. And that decides this game. Those 2 points are the difference tonight. And it's going to be a big night in Laramie, Wyoming. Let's go down to Cassie McKinney.
Well, Coach, how does it feel to be absolutely mobbed by the crowd?
Well, it's a great team win for our whole state and the University of Wyoming. We're excited about it.
What type of statement does this win show the Mountain West?
You know, we're making strides. It puts us back on the I don't know. It's a great win. I'm going to enjoy it. Go Pokes!
When you look at this crowd behind you,
Go Pokes!
Well, I hope Coach and Cassie get out of there okay.
Well, I tell you one thing, Craig Bohl knows how to build a program, and he's shown that. And what he did with the North Dakota State Bison, and now what he's done here at Wyoming, what a huge win against a powerhouse in Boise State.
Boise State's not done yet. They still have a shot at the Mountain West title. They still have a shot at a New Year's Six. But the
Wyoming's in the driver's seat now in the Mountain Division, essentially with a 2-game lead, because now they have the tiebreaker.
Without question. That path, which was clear at the start of the night, is fraught with obstacles for Boise State. And the biggest one are the Cowboys of Wyoming, now 4-0, 6-2. They've won 4 straight Mountain West games. And for the first time in their history, they're 4-0 in the Mountain West. For the first time in their history, they beat Boise State. And in Kalamazoo, in Western Michigan, and down in San Diego, at San Diego State, there's some group of 5 teams with smiles on their faces. Still a lot of football left in 2016, but this is a memorable scene here tonight for a program that has been dormant for a while. 2-10 last year, and now 4-0 in the Mountain West. Cowboy tough. Craig Bohl and Wyoming.
I think one other thing we have to mention, and we've hit it all night, especially in the second half, is what Josh Allen has meant to this team and this offense. This was a one-dimensional football team a year ago with Brian Hill as the centerpiece. But the plays tonight by Josh Allen in the passing game, and then the senior nose tackle, Chase Appleby, to wrap around and get to Rippon to force the safety that put him up by 2 points. What a play by Appleby, and a great night from their quarterback, Josh Allen, as well.
The play was reviewed. It was not initially called a safety. It took about 30 seconds for the officials to confer. They called the safety. The review went, and it was indeed a safety. And a 2-point lead for Wyoming, and they hold on for a win. Arch, this was a fun one tonight.
This is one of the better ones I've been a part of, certainly with you, Rich, and 2 tremendous football teams, both coming in here with momentum and both living up to the hype. We had a great ball game here to watch tonight.
Who knows how far this Cowboy team can go. But right now they take down number 13 Boise State. They're 6-2 and 4-0. And they are winners tonight, 30-28. For Adam Archuleta, Cassie McKinney, our entire CBS crew, terrific job from them tonight. I'm Rich Waltz. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. After the break, we're headed to San Jose for UNLV and San Jose State. Dwayne Ballin, Randy Cross, and Taylor Rooks. Good night from Laramie.